Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well and that you enjoyed your unit test yesterday. Today, we're going to start our next unit, which is all about rational expressions. Rational expressions is just a fancy word for fractions. So, we're going to work with fractions here for about the next week and a half, 2 weeks for this next unit. So, we're going to start off nice and easy with some simplifying fractions. You'll probably take a look at this first one and you'll come up with the idea and what the answer is for that one. But I want to point out a couple things. One, today we're just going to be simplifying, real easy. Simplify and state the excluded values. When you're dealing with fractions that have variables in them, like we are here, we're going to have values that cannot be an answer because they make the fraction have 0 as a denominator, which means that is not possible. So to do these, we're going to simplify away whatever's the same on top and the bottom. Like, for instance, here we can get rid of those 18. The 18s, I can get rid of 2k's there. We did this earlier in the year, and I can get rid of 2k's there. That leaves me with 1. So don't forget, we have 1 over k squared. Easy, easy, easy breezy. All right, now, when it says excluded values, remember, those are all the values that are going to make your denominator 0. So what can k not be? K cannot equal 0. This would be your excluded value. Excluded value, okay? All right, so there's your excluded value. Now, here's where we're really going with all this. These are the types of fractions. Now, what most people want to do is they want to come in and start crossing out the n squared, the 3, the n, the 5s. Unfortunately, you can't do that. You can only get rid of stuff like we did over here when things are multiplied. We can get rid of the same things if everything's multiplied, but you'll notice that over here we have our pluses and minuses separated out in our terms. So the key for this, the key is to factor. Factor everything. We're going to be doing tons and tons and tons of factoring. So first of all, I'm going to factor the top here, and I get n plus 5 and n minus 2. And then down here in the bottom one, I'm going to pull out my greatest common factor, which is 7, and I end up with n squared plus 4n minus 5. And you'll notice we can still factor this. So I'm going to move down here. I've got n plus 5 in my numerator, n minus 2. I have 7, n plus 5, and n minus 1 is what we get when we factor the denominator. Now you'll notice that these two parts are multiplied. These three parts are multiplied, so we can get rid of whatever's the same on top of bottom, which happens to be the n plus 5. So our n plus 5s, they turn into 1, and that leaves us with an answer of n minus 2 over 7 times n minus 1. All right, here's our simplified version. Okay, and our excluded values. Okay, our excluded values here, we've got to go all the way back up to where we had it factored, because we see that if I put a negative 5 in for n here, this becomes 0. And 0 times 7 is 0, and 0 times whatever this result would be 0. So one of the n excluded values is n cannot equal 5. And over here, if n happened to be a 1, that means that this would become 0. So n cannot equal positive 1. So our simplifying, we just factor and simplify, and then finding our excluded values. Go up to your factored form and find out what is going to make this become 0 as an overall whole when we plug a number in and multiply it out. Okay? Hopefully that all makes sense. If you have questions, feel free to jump into the office hour and let me know, and I can give you a hand, and we're off and running on our next unit here. Okay? All right.